I start as I always do, checking to see if this thing's actually working. So I am starting a little early tonight because I'm hoping to end by 11. You guys kept me on till like 11:30 last night. So I'm like, I definitely got to start this thing early. So let me get my papers together as I wait for people to realize that I have started. First, let me say this. I am thoroughly enjoying myself in this particular tournament. I think you all know why, but it's more than just that finally the things that John and I have been saying have come to pass. Obviously, I hope for that to continue. You never can predict the future, can you? So I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but at least for one tournament, I am thoroughly enjoying myself. All the guys are doing pretty good. That we expect to do good, that we hope to do good. And the sumo's been quite excellent. I think most of you would agree with that. Okay, so let's start off. I actually have notes this time. I actually watched all the matches. It was still crazy busy in my life, but a little less crazy today than yesterday. So let's get started. The first match I want to talk about is Shonan versus Meay, and the reason for that is one of the subscribers came in the chat last night and asked me my opinion of Shonan, so I thought I'd pay extra close attention to his match today, and here are my thoughts. So he started off strong with the Kotanage hold, but he was unable to finish Meay off right away at the edge, and then he ended up having to regroup. So my first comments were going to be, wow, Shonan looking strong and powerful, and he's doing the type of sumo that I would not only expect, but would cheer. And then something just is a little off. I couldn't understand why he didn't finish Meay off at the edge. But encouraging that he was able to recover from it and win the match. So I will continue to keep an eye on Shonan to give you more opinions about him. And obviously in the recap show, we will go into great lengths about all of the 42. As we do. Usually our recap show is like 3+ hours long, so buckle up. You'll learn all about what we think about Shonan. Next, I have Ura versus Tomakaz. It was one of the matches that I had a nice big star next to because I thought to myself, Ura's a little crazy and Tomakaz is pretty hurt. So anything could happen in this match. And that it did. Tomakaz ends up with the win, and Ura does his famous somersault. I have to tell you guys, the way that somersault landed, that was a little bit too close to the straw bales for my comfort. I think we kind of narrowly missed like a possible injury there, either to the neck and or his hand. It was just a little bit too close to the edge for my tastes. But Ura's still doing good. He's still trying the straight on sumo. I'm encouraged, but he still needs to get his kachikoshi, so he's gotta get it going. And next, we have one of the big matches. It's always interesting when lower ranked guys are in the Yusho contention because you get like a really seriously cool match, like way down towards the bottom. You almost can forget that, oh yeah, I need to really be paying attention to this match. This one is for all the marbles. I have to say, Takenosho surprised me, not because he isn't capable of this, but we haven't seen this from him in a while. He stuck to Ruden like glue and an amazing follow-through. He was just very focused on going forward as a good pusher thruster should, and he was like practically glued to Ruden. Once again, I have to say that I think Takenosho's got a little bit to do with it. But of course, Takenosho's condition matters most because we all know that he was capable of this. He just hasn't done it in years since the injuries. So we're now in a situation where Ruden is getting knocked off of the leaderboard. I don't imagine this is a 12-3 Yusho. Of course, anything could happen. But I'm going to say I think Ruden's shot is pretty much done at this point. Then we had Daisho versus Onokatsu. Daisho is looking back to form. He really dominated Onokatsu to the point where he pushed him out so hard that Onokatsu had a hard time getting back into the ring. He looked okay, but he was limping slightly. So, aggressive Daisho's back. I have a strong feeling that he is going to get his Kachikoshi. But we will have to see. He's 5-6 at this point. Still plenty of sumo to go. I'll read a couple of your comments. Army says, greetings, Army. Monster says, I was very impressed with Tomakaz for beating Ura. I thought the mobility advantage would be too much for him. I completely agree. There's something that's just coming together for Tomakaz in this tournament where he's figured out a way with his limited movement to be somewhat dominating in his matches. We're going to have to see where this goes. And how about Shodai beating Aishki? Wow, I will get into my thoughts on that very shortly. Sometimes I think the theory Shodai just doesn't try most Basho must be true because of stuff like this. Yes, when we say that, we're not really joking. We kind of mean it. GR says Hoshiru 11-0. That's part of why I am just so happy this tournament. Poor Abi and Temu Abi Ichiyamamoto are having a bad Basho. Yeah, Ichiyamamoto's having a bad one because things just aren't clicking, but Abi is clearly injured. Okay, I'm going to get back to my spiel and then we'll do our usual talk. So, Fujinokawa versus Ichiyamamoto, speaking of which. So, Fujinokawa with the lift. And when the lift didn't work, that amazing throw, that was cool. Now, I don't think he should do that too much. He doesn't want to have, Tochinoshi and things, but while you're young, why not? Ichiyamamoto trying to do the tie-up with the arms, Kotanage style, that was kind of interesting. Maybe he just needs to work on that a little bit more. This could be his adjustment tournament, where he's trying some things, and when you try things, sometimes it just doesn't work in that exact tournament. So he's in the test phase, the learning phase. I'm not too worried about him right now. Then we had Hiraumi versus Kusano. So this was a nice, aggressive back and forth. I kind of expected that was the kind of match it would be, but you never know because Hiraumi up until this tournament was really struggling, but he seems to have found his footing despite the record. I'll just fix this microphone. And Kusano, like I said, he's going through the rookie thing. He had a great Basho last tournament. And now people have had an opportunity to see him and they are punishing him. But this was a nice win for him. He is now 6-5, so things just continue on. We'll forget all about the rough start. And then let's talk about the Battle of the Ohos. Haku Oho versus Oho. And we kind of talked about yesterday that this could be a very good match because Haku Oho is a great fighter. He's just injury prone. And Oho is a great fighter. He just doesn't consistently fight well. So when Oho wants to turn it on, it's usually during high-level opponents. I almost want to say that words failed me on this match. I can't remember a match of this high of caliber in quite some time. So Haku Oho got the better grip right off the bat, and Oho fought through it, turns the tables. Then he's got Haku Oho on the edge, and that resistance, I have never seen that work. Haku Oho was fighting for every little inch, and he gets himself back into the center of the ring. And then there's just a little bit of back and forth, like who's going to get the advantage, and Oho's going for that arm. And then the slap down, it's like, Haku Oho's probably just kicking himself for that one. Dirt on Haku Oho, blood on Oho. I mean, there's one of those matches that if you want to show someone how cool sumo is, you show them that one. Okay, so Is this the start of a Tamawashi comeback, at least to get a Kachikoshi? It was against Gonoyama, excuse me, who desperately needs a win. He's now 0-11. But, these little moments, Tamawashi never gives up. And he was very aggressive in that match. So let's see if Tamawashi can pull it off. I don't know. Might be unlikely, but never bet against him. He has surprised us in every way possible for a long time now. Let's see. I got my eye on him as a comeback. I got Daisho and Tamawashi possibly salvaging this tournament. Then we had the big match. I have lots to say about this. You guys have already talked about it in the comments. Shodai versus Aishki. And this was a big match because they were both 8-2. This is what I'm going to say. Look, guys. Shodai is fighting like his former self. Something happened where he got into a time machine. So while it may have been surprising in terms of Shodai we've known lately, that's very much the Shodai who was in Ozeki. And I'd say even more so the Shodai who was approaching Ozeki. He was quite dominant when he went on his Ozeki run. And then he was very, very strong in his first tournaments as an Ozeki. A lot of people only remember the downfall and where he's been hanging out, but that version of Shodai is always in there. And the off switch, when it goes off, it's off. And when it's on, it's on. I continue to say I think Shodai is inspired to this tournament, and that is why the on switch has been on the whole time. He really came out for Aishki, and he was just physically stronger than him. I mean, he dominated him. He did a very good job keeping him away from the belt so he couldn't do any sort of moves. He had a plan. You would not think that was the Shodai that we've been talking about for the last 2 years. This was definitely Ozeki Shodai. So anybody who didn't see him in his Ozeki days might be shocked. I'm not shocked at all. I just never know when we're going to see that version of him. It messes with the playoff pick, or messes with the Yusho picture quite a bit, because I thought Aishki was really going to be the guy, and now it's Shodai. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. This throws the predictions a little bit up in the air. Then we had Koto Sho versus Wakataka Kag. Okay, so the dream is officially over with this loss. I'm going to say this. I think Wakataka Kag has a knee injury. As I was watching Koto Sho pushing him out, he had absolutely no resistance at the edge. And in fact, the knee that I think is injured, he so gingerly, he almost touched the bales with his toe. He did not put full weight on that leg. And then he was kind of stumbling out. So I think we found our reason. We'll have to wait till after the tournament to see if they announce injuries. But I think we got a knee injury, guys. Doesn't necessarily mean, a serious injury. Could just be strained. But it's definitely not up to par. And that is why the Ozeki dream has failed. We will have to see what happens next. Okay, Koto Zakura versus Wakamoto Haru. Okay, so I'd say Koto Zakura this tournament, particularly this match, I feel like he's taken a page out of Terunofuji's book. If your knees are shot, use the massive upper body strength. I don't know why it's taken him so long to do it. I don't know why he was a defensive style for so long. He's so much better when he's on the offensive. That throw was beautiful today. I really hope he is leveling up and adjusting his sumo to deal with the reality of his knees. And, Terunofuji was able to do it. I think Koto Zakura can do it too. If you just focus on lifting guys in a kotenake position and try not to get pushed back, there's a lot of damage you could do. So, Koto Zakura gets his Kachikoshi nice and early. So, there's a chance he gets double digits and we're out of that just barely scraping by category. But we'll have to see, because once again, even though we're on day 11, there still is just so much more sumo to go. Things don't really settle themselves until day 13, I would say. And then we had the classic showdown, Kirishima versus Hoshiru. Their head-to-head at the time was 10-11 in favor of Hoshiru. I really felt like this was a chess match in sumo form. You can see how they both had different techniques that they were trying, messing around with the leg position, the foot position, the way that they were boxing. It was definitely like who's gonna shift whose balance. And in the end, Hoshiru was just very, very determined. You could see the face after he got the one-armed throw. He got his shift just in time, which is why that toe was so important to heal. And he took care of business. I mean, he looks great. How thrilled am I right now? Because at least at this point, he's got 11 wins. 11-0. People can say all the crap they want to say, but they'll just look stupid for saying it. Obviously, I am hoping for the Yusho, get this first Yokazuna Yusho, get that out of the way. I'd love Zensho Yusho. That seems kind of impossible, but who knows? Who knows? But it's looking good. All the things that John and I had said seem to be coming to pass for the Yokazuna this tournament. I hope that is going to be the story going forward. So let's speak about Onosato. Onosato versus Takayasu. So Takayasu showed great spirit on that Tachiai, and he blasted him. And he gave Onosato a little bit of a scare. But Onosato, he's too young. He's way too strong. And he's learned a lot, like Hoshiru, by the way, of how to recover. Yokazuna sumo means winning sumo. I'm going to just agree with Hakuho on that. Even if you look a little shaky, even if you weren't super dominant, the win is all that matters. So Onosato is getting a little shaky, but he's learned how to recover properly. So both guys looking great. Each day we're heading towards that Yokazuna showdown for the Yusho that everybody wants, and then everybody can just take a break before London and be like, yeah, sumo's in a great state. That's what we all want. So, we're just going to proceed forward and hope that tomorrow is as good as today was. The playoff, I keep saying playoff. Do I think a playoff is coming or something? The Yusho picture is Hoshiru at the top, 11-0. Onosato right behind him, 10-1. And Takenosho and Shodai, 9-2. Once again, based on the last couple of years, that looks silly. But if you rewind in time, Takenosho and Shodai being in the Yusho picture, yeah, of course. Both of them are fighting exactly the way they used to when things were going well. So this doesn't seem so much of a dark horse scenario. Now, with that said, the Yokozuna clearly don't have their eyes on anybody else. They have their eyes on each other. So they might just get out of here, you two, and just, it's all about the Yokozuna. Who cares who these guys are? So we'll have to see. But tomorrow's matchups will help aid in that conversation. So Hoshiru has Aishki tomorrow. I said today that how he does against Kirishima really, really matters because, once again, they've been rivals for years and years and years, and Kirishima and him were very evenly matched. So if he takes care of Kirishima, he's in the zone. Aishki had a tough loss today. Now, he beat Hoshiru in the last tournament. Hoshiru was hurt, but I'm sure Hoshiru, I don't want to say is nervous, but he's not taking this match for granted. Anything could happen. Aishki could have a inspired moment, catch him off guard. He's got a lot in his bag of tricks, just like Hoshiru does. Hoshiru could just laser focus on Yokazuna, and Aishki could have a second hard loss in a row. I don't want to make any predictions on that match. Onosato versus Kirishima, very, very similar. Kirishima's record is 5-6, but he hasn't been fighting like a 5-6. He's just had a lot of he gets beat by guys that are a little bit better. Onosato, a little bit on the edge, a couple days in a row. If Kirishima just wakes up and does the right move, he could take the win against Onosato tomorrow. This would be one of his first challenges. The way things are going, Onosato should dominate Kirishima regardless of what he tries, and we continue on. But like I said, things are prime for an upset. in both cases. Both Yokazuna have to worry about their opponent tomorrow. Then Koto Zakura versus Takenosho. That's going to be an amazing match, okay? You've got Koto Zakura, who's finally figured this out. He's going for the throws. He's going for the more aggression, using his upper body. Takenosho is all go forward with power. It's going to be interesting to see how these two match up, because they're both going to just be blasting into each other. If Koto Zakura gets on the belt, Takenosho's in trouble, so his goal is going to be to just blast him at the Tachi and never let him get near it. Gonna be very, very interesting for sure. And then Shodai versus Ruden. Now, I don't know their head-to-head, but I imagine they have fought many, many times. Ryuden's not out of this thing yet. Shodai has moments where he turns off. So, no guarantees on this match tomorrow, but I still think Shodai should have the edge. And now I'm going to turn it over to you fine people and see what you're saying, because I can see the chat is full of people again. So let's get this party started. Hello, H. Tim. YouTube logged him out, but he's back. GR says, I heard that before the Basho, Hoshiru was studying and watching Awanishiki's matches, along with calling him out behind stable doors. That sounds like a very Hoshiru thing to do, so I would not be surprised in the least. He knows that Awanishiki's the next hot prospect. He knows that Awanishiki has a very similar style to his own. And when he refines his craft, he's going to be a true challenge for Hoshiru. I think at this point, Hoshiru is just way physically stronger. But when you have a huge bag of tricks, physical strength doesn't mean everything. So, wise of Hoshiru, and also something that it sounds like he would do. Fujino Kawa breaking out the Tochi loft was a crowd pleaser for sure. Yeah, the crowd was like cheering for like a solid minute after that match. They were like, yeah, baby. I miss the Tochi Noshin lift. I do. Hoshiru beat Kitty with ease. He's just really locked in the zone. That's the one thing that Hoshiru has that a lot of these guys do not have. He has that gear where he's like, all right, I'm done playing games. I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do. Onosato doesn't have that. Awanishiki does. Like I said, there's a future rivalry there if Awanishiki keeps his upward trajectory. He's just as determined as Hoshiru. He's just as smart as Hoshiru, and he has just as many tricks. He's just not as strong and not as experienced. But you keep your eye on that situation. Kirishima, on the other hand, he is definitely battling the injuries that will never go away. And so I don't know if he always has the same level of stamina that he used to, and that might be what's making him lose these matches. Awanishiki versus Hoshiru is the headliner. If Hoshiru is in danger of losing any match, it's this one. Awanishiki has sumo smarts that might even surpass his. That guy is a demon out there. Look at that, Monster. I didn't even read your comment, and we basically said the same thing. That's awesome. Army says, yes, very spirited match between Oho and Hako Oho. I wonder if it would have ended differently if Hako Oho had two good arms. Yeah, it's really a shame to see Hako Oho out there hurt, because you can see the massive talent. He's probably not going to make it to where he should make it, but we're going to have a fun time watching to see where he can go. I don't want to jinx Tamawashi. Neither do I. Maybe I should knock on some wood. Hako Oho stayed down for a while like he was still processing it. He was very, very stressed about that. Like, he worked so hard to try to win that match, and for it to end like that, it's like the Takayasu slow walk. It's like, no, can't be. The only time Hoshiru faced Awanishiki, he was injured. I think he beats him easily this time. I'd like to think that too, but I'm just not super confident. But my common sense, my intuition says that should be the case. A couple of days ago, Gonoyama versus Abi would have been a cool match, but now it's boring. I want my 0-win face-off. Why? Because Abi got his win today? Yeah, I don't know. Abi probably should have pulled out of this tournament. Same with Gonoyama. I don't know what's going on, but hey, maybe they'll just give us a good match tomorrow. The way he handled Kiri today, I don't think Aishki wins. Hoshiru is locked in. He is locked in. Nothing should affect it, but boy, I've been proven wrong too much to get too confident. But I still think Hoshiru should have it. Aishki headed straight for his fated 11-4. Yeah, what's tough for him though is that he faces Hoshiru. If he loses that match, then he hasn't faced Onosato yet, right? It's gonna be tough for him to beat both Ozeki or both Yokazuna. So he might get a 10-5 this time. We'll see. H. Tim alluded on the post, but I had expected Shodai versus Aishki to be a more interesting match. Yeah, it was very dominated by Shodai. I thought it was going to go back and forth, but that was a classic Shodai win when Shodai was Ozeki. So once it started going in that direction, I just kind of knew, all right, well, Aishki was caught off guard. I think that was the first time matchup with Shodai, so he didn't really know what to expect. Hitting that brick wall on the Tachi is never fun. Also, versus Tobizaro tomorrow. The Prophecy. Yeah, I mean, they have to fight. It's a guarantee. People want it. Doesn't matter the rank. Mitch will be disappointed, but that's okay. Or today. What time is it in Japan? Actually, that would be today. I'm pretty sure in Japan it is 10 a.m. the next day. Waka just missing Ozeki for November, but probably having to start his run from Go, assuming he even Kachikoshi. Yeah, I'm already going to say that. He's going to have to start all over again. I think his knee is injured. It's unfortunate, but the dream is not even just temporarily over. It's over for 3 more Basho, I think. I think Koto is the hardest matchup Hoshiru has left. He really has Onosato's number, but Koto was good at countering throws of Hoshiru. Koto Zakura is a tough match for him. No question about it. I agree with you that he has Onosato's number, but eventually Onosato's gonna win. So you don't know if it's this tournament or the next. We're in for surprises, I think. Even 8 wins. Oh, lost it. Even 8 wins seems like too many for how he's been fighting. I think we're talking about Waka, and I agree, unfortunately. Hello, Pedro. Good to see you. Ura is still the Yokazuna of everyone's heart. Nothing will ever change that. Ura is delightful in every way possible. Onosato did almost pull himself out of the ring again, though. Yeah, he's still pretty shaky. It's just that he's very powerful, so you're going to have to blast him. I really wish the Takenosho could have stayed healthy a little bit longer, because I think watching him fight Onosato would have been very funny. I think he would have blasted him out almost every time they fought. When fully healthy, there's no doubt Hoshiru and Onosato are the top dogs and nobody else is close when they're locked in. I really want them to continue to show that, because I want them to show that, in fact, they are the Yokazuna. So I want them both to level up to a point where it's an absolute challenge to fight them. I hope this is the start of that for us. Like, I want it to be consistent. If Koto Zakura can beat Takenosho in his A game, he might be back for real. He's making a case. I do think that the Takenosho match is very important for what we're going to see with him in the future. Shodai 10-3 versus Ruden. Just checked. Oh, wow. That's pretty one-sided. Okay. Well, that's not looking too good for Ruden. You can't predict Shodai on numbers. He can just decide he's not trying today, and that's it. Yeah. I will tell everybody, don't try to predict Shodai. It's impossible. You don't know what's going on in his head, and neither does he. He decides on the dohyo what he's going to do. Google says they've only ever fought twice, 1-1. Is that correct? And Monster says, no, it's 10-3. Sumo DB knows all. Yeah, that absolutely didn't sound right to me, because they've both been around for a long time, so. Okay. Good point. Strictly speaking, 0-0 recently haven't faced each other in over a year. Yes, lately, their ranks have just been too far away from each other. Google says January 2021 and January 2024. Can anyone explain what's up with that Lanka Tommy Fuji? All that mass, couple of 11-4 Basho, and now mostly cow turds. I don't know. I mean, there's theories. One theory is that he has self-esteem issues. One theory is the complex health situation with him, diabetes, cellulitis. It might be that each day that he goes in, he might feel like this is a good day, this is a bad day. We'd have to have somebody actually come out and tell us what's going on. And I don't know if anybody will, so. Even better, the Tobizara versus Ura matches for Kachikoshi. Both are 7-4. Oh, finally. We've got some stakes here. The word is that Atami Fuji is just a slow learner. Terunofuji has chastised him publicly a few times now for being impossible to teach. Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw the video of him yelling at him on the stable channel. But I just don't know. Which I think is a little cruel, but that's besides the point. Well, Terunofuji's a pretty intense fella. So, I don't know. Is it that he couldn't control himself? Or was he actually trying to sell a narrative because it was on the channel? That I don't know. I'm wondering about the same thing. He came in and everyone had high hopes, but he's really struggling injury. I don't know if it's injury or health. Like just overall health. But I don't know. He's really not living up to expectations, that's for sure. Hello, Bob All Might. He's late, but here. We have a lot less people in the chat than we did last night. Wow, that was something. There was a whole bunch of people that have never chatted before. There was lots to talk about, even though I was completely unprepared. I'm nice and prepared now, and we're less chatty. I've caught up to the chat at 9:37. Come on, guys. You gotta throw some chat in there, or else this live stream's gonna end in like 10 minutes. So, I guess I'll throw a question out there. Maybe that'll get the conversation going. What do you guys think's going to happen? Come on. I was forced to make a prediction last night that I didn't want to make because I didn't want to be involved in jinxes. So, you guys, you throw out there what you think's going to happen. It doesn't have to be you show winner. It can be who's going to make a comeback and get their Kachikoshi. It can be what's going to be the most exciting match in the next couple days. Of course, all we know about is the matches tomorrow, but we can surmise some. It could be whether or not Aishki gets his double digits that he needs. There's a lot of things to, opine on. Bob says, I love how you can see just how disappointed Haku Oho is when he loses. Him and Oho are in line for Sanyaku with a good score. I'd love to see both of them, maybe they can create a nice rivalry and rise together as Hoshiru and Onosato did. I mean, their match today got people pretty hyped. They're going to be excited the next time they face each other again. Gonoyama going for the 0-15. I know. Ooh. Man, it's painful to watch that. I haven't seen something like that since our good friend in red. I'm forgetting his name because I'm so tired tonight. Takenosho. And Gonoyama's a very similar fighter, so I find that interesting. It might be that pusher-thruster slump that was discussed in the Sumo salon. Daisho finally looks like himself. Yeah, I think he just needed to work through it. And I do think he will make a comeback and get a Kachikoshi. We'll have to see, but that's one prediction I'm willing to make. Just wait for Kirishima and Wakataka Kag to go 7-8, so there's 0 room. Ugh. Yeah, seriously. So when do we start the Shishi bashing tonight? The funny thing about that is Shishi looks like he's kind of making a comeback himself. I mean, I think he's starting to learn how to use that body of his. It'll be very, very funny if all of a sudden he becomes elite like a couple years from now and everyone forgets how he started. That could be interesting. Do Prism says 11-0, baby. That's right. All Hoshiru fans rejoice after the months and months and months of nonsense talk we've had to endure on the internet. It's like finally we can breathe. We can have a good time. We're not worried about other people. We're just worried about our guy. I'm loving it. I can't see them demoting Gonoyama even if he goes winless. Well, that's probably why he's continuing to fight. He doesn't want to give them any reason to demote him. Shishi's footwork looked okay. Very surprising. Yeah, it's improving. And I think maybe he's a slow learner. He's having a hard time, as I saw in the wings. Can't confirm, but that he's having a hard time learning Japanese. So if he's having a hard time learning Japanese, he's probably having a hard time learning sumo as well. Either the communication's not good or just in general it takes him time. You never know. He might learn and becomes elite. He could be the next Tochinoshi, and you never know. Hokuto Fuji in the commentary box. I saw that. I was pretty pumped for that. Hoshiru loses to Koto, but beats Onosato for the Yusho. Bold prediction. Bold prediction. And there is such a ring of truth possible in that prediction. Hoshiru flawless victory. Now that's what I want. And I made that prediction last night, and I'm like, ugh. Spanky says Hoshiru Yusho 14-1. All right. Hosh wins them all. Okay. Couple of people calling the Zensho Yusho. That would be... How happy would we be if he got a Zensho Yusho and then they go to London and they just have a good time and we don't have to worry about Hoshiru is not Yokozuna material. He's the worst Yokozuna that's ever lived and he should just quit right now. We've literally heard people say nonsense like that. So it'd be nice. It just would be nice. But at this point, I'll take the Yusho. It seems like there are a higher number of Hankas this tournament than usual. There are always some, but not this many. I'm going to say it may feel that way, but there have been tournaments that are... It's all on how they show up. Like, if you get a multiple in a row, like multiple in one day, or like every day the same guy Hankas, then you start to feel like there's more... There's been plenty of tournaments with just as many Hankas. It just, the way that they presented themselves, you forget. So I don't think there's that many in this one. I definitely remember seeing more in other tournaments. Welcome, by the way. Tomakaz kicking butt. Fingers crossed for the Kachikoshi. He looks good. He looks like he's made some adjustments with the injury. Mini forklift. Fujinokawa is amazing. He's going to be one of the people that you get excited to watch fight. I was hoping that would be the case, but today definitely solidified that. I had a dream over the weekend. I was doing Guess the Banzuke, and I was trying to figure out who my Furuko Musubi were, and then I woke up. Oh, no. It's not good when you start dreaming about Guess the Banzuke. GR says, Hoshiru Zensho. Hoshiru Yurikiri big men this tournament. Takayasu and Atami Fuji. Hoshiru has got Koto beat in practice as well. There's lots of reasons to be excited. I still keep it tempered, I guess. But I'm happy. I'm just happy. I'm just smiling. I'm not closing my eyes. I'm not holding my breath. I'm not worried about retirements. I'm good. I'm solid. I'm having a good time. I can always post an update to the demotion picture when we run out of stuff to talk about. Get yourself ready, monster. Good day for the Ohos. All three looked great today. Absolutely. Hiraumi really impresses me with how hard he fights. Even when he loses, he's usually in the match. That's the cool thing about him. I mean, he's had a rough year, I'd say, because the matches just weren't working out for him. But right for the get-go, excuse me, that guy has got determination for days. And that is very, very appealing. Shodai had a couple of good Ozeki Basho. Very good plan to keep out Aishki close and upright. It almost feels like he planned for it. Interesting. Advanced planning from Shodai. Something's motivating him. I'm telling you. There's some external factor that we don't quite know about, but he is fired up for a reason. Very strange that Aishki is fighting Hosh this late in the Basho. Usually Komusubi get all the Sanyaku very early. I'd have to look at the schedule and why that ended up happening that way. A non-bold prediction, Ura somersault in the next match with a smile. That's a nice prediction, very possible prediction. I will be screaming if he wins it all. I have been waiting for Hoshiru to pop off. There's going to be major celebrations in my house, I'll tell you that. Because I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting for this moment. He looks so good. He looks in control. If you just started watching sumo this tournament, you'd say, oh, wow, yeah, that's the Yokazuna. And, ooh, I need it. I just need Yokazuna Yusho. I need it. Let's think about last September, guys. How sad was I last September? I shed a tear while doing the show. That's something I don't do. I was pretty crushed last September. So it is exciting to feel good this September. No Hankas today unless I missed one. There was a slight shift to the side from Asakuryu. I wouldn't say it was a full Hanka, but there was a shift to the side. Koto bros are very happy. I love the videos where you can see Koto Zakura's attendant doing the Koto nod with Koto Zakura in the tunnel. Yeah, they like to have fun, those guys. Asakuryu kind of shift today, not a clear Hanka. Yep, we concur. Ono Sato picked the perfect moment for a comeback in that match. He didn't continue to pull like usual. He's super focused because of Hoshiru. First of all, he's studying his matches and he sees that Hoshiru is making adjustments in his own matches and never letting himself be out of the fight for too long. But also, he really, really, really wants to keep pace with him. He wants this. Hoshiru's got his number. He has his own things to prove. So I think some of the pulling happens when you get lazy and unfocused, and he can't afford to do that. He can't afford to take the risk. So this is why I say 2 Yokozunas makes everybody happy. Ura. That's right, Eminem. Welcome. Maybe it's just Waka ceiling. He's had multiple chances at Ozeki, and it always ends the same way. It really seems this is just max for him. I hate it because I wanted him to make it. Goose would agree with you on that. He's always said that Waka is just not Ozeki material. And here's the thing. He's just getting older and older. So there was a point where maybe he had a shot at Ozeki and could have been Ozeki material. But he gets the injury. He gets knocked down. And all these other guys, while he's hanging out in the lower division, all these other guys were refining their craft and fighting their equals. And they're just surpassing him. They're just so much better than him. That's the downside to an injury. I'm very happy at how soundly Kirishima was beaten. Hoshiru put him on defense the whole match. I know. You're not a fan of that Kirishima. He looks like the top Yokozuna. Sure does. If I was on camera, you guys would see that I've been smiling this entire time. I am just thrilled. Of course, if there's any Hoshiru deniers out there, if he loses tomorrow, I'll be seeing it in the comments. Onosato is a big man, but honestly, he doesn't give me Yokozuna aura yet. That's kind of how I feel, but I'll get accused of just being biased because I love Hoshiru so much, but I acknowledge Onosato's superior strength. I mean, it's amazing how strong this guy is. But he doesn't come across as intimidating at all because he's kind of got like almost a smile when he's fighting. And he gets knocked around a little bit. He gets caught off guard, so I just don't feel the aura yet, but I acknowledge the skill and I acknowledge the absolute deserving of the rank. I'm feeling the same about Kiri. He's just not getting back to the Yokozuna run days. His back seems to wear down by day 8 to 10, and it's downhill after that. Yeah, the sad truth about sumo or any athletic endeavor is you kind of have this small little window to make it work. And if you don't jump in that opportunity, you just get older and more hurt. And meanwhile, the next young guy comes up, and it gets that much harder to do it again. And I think both Kirishima and Wakataka Kag are in that boat. And, they were together fighting it out, trying to get Ozeki. They were together as the top Sanyaku. So, they're running a similar path. They're similar age. Hosh is the top Yokazuna. Technical skill-wise, he's still the best by a country mile. Which, by the way, is why it would annoy me so much when they're like, he's not Yokazuna. Ono Sato is. It's like, the dude's got more skill than anybody else in the top division. No one can question that. Now, does it always translate to wins? No. But it's translated to wins enough to make it to Yokazuna. He just needs a little time to become dominant, and hopefully this tournament is the start of that. Yokozuna East starts with K West and picks up K East later. Haven't really seen enough Yokozuna West to be used to it, but apparently it's reversed. I will have to think about that. Hoshiru has a certain calmness about him this time. I think he can out-strategize Aishki. Yeah, I think he's been getting a lot of advice. That's what the papers have been saying. From Hakaku, even from Hakuho. They're telling him, you're trying too hard. You gotta calm down. You'll get this. And he must have taken that seriously because he does seem very calm. One of the things that would work against him, actually, is his desire was so strong that it would almost create frustration and create lapses. So calming himself down, that is helping him be a better fighter. And that's the case for all fighters, by the way. If you're full of tension, whether it be good energy or bad energy, you can't focus on your fighting as much as you need to. Tobizaro is visibly still injured, clearly not the Joey guy he used to be even when healthy, and he's still fighting strong at this rank. Yeah, I got to give you credit. You were kind of like, why is everybody ignoring Tobizaro? And perhaps we were wrong to do that because he does look pretty good considering the injury. So, I acknowledge the talent there. Eminem, I agree when judging my skills and winning techniques. Habab Gab, it feels like it's been a while since Hosh fought Koto. Probably not since their Day 15 U-Show deciding match last November. I agree with you. I can't remember the last time they fought because Hoshiru has missed a couple tournaments. So, and then Koto Zakura. Yeah, Hosh has missed. He missed July and he missed March. So yeah, it's been a little while. I thought Toby was looking better this tournament. Thought he looked way worse in July and May. So he was injured then. Had a little bit of time to recover. Looking better now. To me, it seemed like he's still favoring the arm from the throw that made him go Cujo. I think he is still favoring that arm. I agree. The question is if Koto will continue to fight hard or if he will cruise now that he has 8. His last couple Basho, he loses a lot of his matches after getting to 8 wins. I think this is a different Koto Zakura this tournament. I think he also is watching the 2 Yokozuna and he feels that he belongs there. And I think that's why we're seeing such a good version of him this time. If he studies his opponents, he will learn too how to make adjustments. To be fair, even random internet people like us could see Hoshiru needed that. Yeah, I think if you didn't see it, it's because you didn't want to see it. Intentional ignorance happens all the time. Okay, I'll give you all the secret inside details. I've been secretly working with Hoshiru on his mental game. He calls me daily. Well, gee, Army, it's working. I'm sure he's known for a long while. Once Onosato realizes that he is the biggest and strongest guy around, he will be pretty unstoppable. For now, he's still too respectful of everyone. Yeah, when Onosato realizes his full potential, you're not going to be able to stop him unless you're Hoshiru. I think Hoshiru will always have the ability to beat him. That doesn't mean he'll always beat him. Eventually, Onosato is going to take it from Hoshiru. Take a win or so. But everyone's going to struggle against him once he really figures himself out. He is a massively strong guy. Maria has been the translator between Hoshiru and I. Just ask her. Yeah, you guys didn't know I speak fluent Japanese and Mongolian. I'm just that good. Hoshiru is definitely calmer. He's not mean mugging or slapping his belt as intensely just before the match starts this Basho. Yeah, and it's really working. And since he's seeing the results, we can hopefully see this consistency going forward. Something has gotten Hoshiru extremely focused. I don't know who's got him locked in mentally, but something seems to have happened. It would be interesting to see if there's some behind the scenes chat that happened or personal thing that's going on. Those guys keep that stuff very close to the chest. I don't know. I do think he received, like I said, a lot of advice from guys who were Yokazuna, and he took it to heart. Hoshiru's footwork is also stellar. Just those little details makes everything click. Correct. Absolutely correct. Part of why Hoshiru is so skilled is because his footwork is impeccable. And that's why the toe mattered. That's why, what's the point of continuing to injure the toe when you need the toe? Oh my goodness, we have all these requests for the plug. I want to do something unique, but I can't on the fly, so we're just going to get the usual plug. Okay. Hello, welcome to 42 Opinions Sumo, the best sumo podcast on the internet. And you know it. Everybody knows it. So why haven't you subscribed yet? I think you should. I would like you to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't like us, you can still comment and tell us that you don't like us. Bug Zero. Wow. Oh, Bug Zero made an appearance. 3 long-term predictions. Koto will never be Yokazuna. I probably agree with that. Kirishima will not get back to Ozeki, and Waka will never make Ozeki. All probable predictions, unfortunately. What's everyone's guess for how long it takes Aishki to make Ozeki? Half a year, 1 year, more? Next year, I believe. H-Tim says January. I think that's possible. I'm going to say May. Hoping that I'm wrong. Koto becoming Yokozuna, I'll still hold out for that one, but the others, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Kirishima or Wakataka Kag are going to be able to overcome. I like it, Spanky. Predict the bad things so you aren't disappointed. And if they don't happen, it'll be a great time. That is a great strategy. I agree. Aishki has not been stopped at any point. I think he could the next Basho. He really could. I'm just so hesitant because I'm afraid. I know skill-wise, he could do it next Basho. I just worry about things I don't want to say out loud. But skill-wise, he could do it next Basho for sure. Army says next summer is my guess, so that would probably be the July Basho. Also, to the Onosato haters, the man is more than just size and strength. Dude is very athletic with great speed as well. He's the kind of athlete who would have been elite in any sport he chose to do. I do want to clarify, despite all of the people saying this to me. Oh, before I do that, good night, Nuevum. Sorry, I can't read. Nuvum Avio. Good night, and thank you for coming. I'm sure you're in a weird time zone compared to me, and it's probably late. So thank you. Anyway, back to my point. I've been accused of being an Onosato hater. I am not an Onosato hater. I actually want to see him do well. I want him and Hoshiru to constantly be leveling each other up. So I want all good for him. However, I do agree with your points that he is very athletic with speed. I just don't feel the Yokozuna aura yet. That's it. But that's okay. It doesn't really matter what my opinion is. A, he's Yokozuna. B, we've already discussed that winning is all that matters. So from all the other metrics, what does it matter if I think he has Yokozuna aura? He is a Yokozuna, deserves to be Yokozuna, and is going to only get better every single time he gets in the ring. And someday he might be so dominant that, like I said, no one's going to stop him. Onosato doesn't look used to being a Rikishi yet. His aura comes from knowing this teddy bear can crush you with one push. Well, keep in mind, he still hasn't been in sumo as long as Hoshiru. The dude just had such a meteoric rise that maybe he isn't as used to it as some guys would be when they reach Yokazuna. And that might be all it is. I think Aishki will make Ozeki, but he will be stuck there for years. It's just really hard to make Yokazuna with 2 already. Also a very probable prediction. We'll have to see, but I mean, I honestly think that if Hoshiru didn't get the Yokazuna spot when he did, that might have been just so crushing to him that it would have taken a long time to get to Yokazuna. I don't know. John does not agree with me on that point. He thinks it would have only been a matter of time. I don't know. So the point is, with that message that I'm giving you, is that it is going to be very hard for anybody to become the next Yokazuna. It's not that easy. It's just not that easy, even if you're as good as Aishki. You can see a whole bunch of guys who have Ozeki potential, but you don't necessarily say that's a Yokazuna. The last time I said that was Terunofuji when he was rising back again, and it was just so clearly obvious. What Monster said, 11 wins are at Sekiwaki in November and promoted for January. Probably the most likely scenario. Will Oho eventually catch fire and make it up to the top 2 ranks Ozeki one day? I don't know. I really don't know. I can't say. I could see it either way. He's as bad as Shodai as far as you know there's so much potential in there and it just doesn't show up. Okay, Habab Gab, positive just for you and a dream come true for me. Aishki will be the first Caucasian Yokozuna ever. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I agree, GR. He has a lot of time to make Yokozuna. He's very young. I just hope he doesn't get injured and retire early like that last guy who made Ozeki very young. Yeah, we've been hurt. It's true. We're recovering. Onosato is the complete physical package, but his technique is not as refined as most Yokozuna, let's be real. That doesn't make him a weak Yokozuna, but I do think that makes him boring to watch. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us are Takenosho fans, and he was accused of being a boring Rikishi because he only had one move. And that wasn't the case. He had at least 3 or 4. Now, they were the same 3 or 4, but there was a lot of like battle in that ring when Takenosho went, like the pause he would do and then the slap to the face, and like there was always this kind of like, we're really gonna brawl out there. Onosato's just this really big dude who you're probably not even gonna get that close to him to even be able to do that stuff. So it's just not as interesting. You just kind of figure he's going to win the match and he's going to win it by going forward and pushing you out. Oh, for sure not aimed at you. You don't even hate Shishi. I wasn't necessarily claiming you were saying that in your comment, but just in case somebody else shows up like STZ02, he definitely would call me a Onosato hater. I was saying that for the benefit of others who might think that about myself. What is everyone's outlook for Takeru Fuji when he returns? Will he ever make it back to the Yusho form? He's looking like a Tomokaze, where there was such great potential, but the injury potential was just as great, and he may never return to form. I'm worried that is the case right now. My hot take is that Onosato will beat Hoshiru, but not win the Yusho. I like it. I don't like that, but I like that take because that is possible. I'm telling you, Onosato at some point is going to beat Hoshiru. Could be any time now. Well, Shishi is so lacking technique that he can't be boring. It's a spectacle. I agree with Monster. To hate someone, you have to do something to me that I really don't care for. There's a couple of guys in there that, I heard some stories and I'm like, I don't want to say I hate you because I can't verify, but if that story is true, then I really can't like you. So I can't dislike Shishi. I mean, he comes from a war-torn country, and he's trying his best. It is what it is. I just can't hate him for that. And I'm always amazed at how he manages to win. So, yeah, you're not going to see Shishi hate from me. Yo, was that Bug Zero? That was Bug Zero. Oh, look at that. STZ02 just showed up after I said his name. You see that? See how good I am? My mom's favorite Rikishi is Onosato, so I can't hate him, even though I love Hosh. They aren't mutually exclusive. Yeah, you don't have to hate Onosato if you love Hoshiru. There are moments where you can feel that way because of the fan bases, but I think those guys are, they're good for each other. Put me on the Aishki Yokazuna train. He's good. I think he's good as well. I mean, look at his records. He's not that dissimilar for Onosato in terms of like the meteoric rise. And he's more skilled, but he's not as powerful. So he does probably need to put on some weight, which I hate to say because I think too much weight is too much, but he might need to put on some weight. Monster, I think the term you were reaching for is train wreck. I'm sorry, guys, but I really just want Hoshiru to keep winning and Onosato lose, and for Hoshiru to secure the Yusho on day 14 or even 13. Hoshiru needs the Yusho way more than Onosato. I do agree with you. As a Hoshiru fan, I would love nothing more. As a Sumo fan, obviously the drama gets everybody more excited, but as a Hoshiru fan, yeah, I do think he needs it more than Onosato because everyone expects Onosato. Everyone, all the detractors of Hoshiru, they're just looking for their next reason to say we were right. I really hope the media doesn't politicize Aishki making Ozeki or Yokozuna, but I know they will, and that makes me frustrated. You just gotta ignore the media. Just think about it, guys. Just think about what the media actually is. It's the job is to tell people stuff. And after a while, particularly with the internet, there's just nothing else to say. So they have to create content or they don't have a job. So by default, the media cannot really be what it was meant to be in the time that we live in. There will have to be some sensationalization or some dirtiness or digging or outright not truth because they need to get people to click on it because they need to keep their job. So you just don't listen to the media. That's all you can do. STZ02, what did I miss? What you missed was me saying that you often call me out, and I'm pretty sure you would say that I'm an Onosato hater, even though I'm not. Other than that, we're just talking about how awesome Hoshiru is. I like both Yokazuna, but I like Hoshiru more because he's just so much more skilled with so many winning techniques, but he has to be because he's smaller. I like seeing the undersized guy succeed. It's so funny because coming from being a Takenosho fan, yes, I appreciated technique, but I wasn't necessarily looking for a guy who had so many techniques. But it was just so easy to like Hoshiru because the techniques are fantastic. But on top of it all, you can see his strong desire to win. Now, that's no, diss to like Midori Fuji. Midori Fuji's got a lot of techniques, but you don't see that hunger, that desire. You can see it all over Hoshiru's face, and that's what Takenosho had, and that's why even with him having less techniques, I just thought Takenosho was the greatest because I could feel how much he wanted to win. Bob says hi to STZ. Onosato is backed up by everyone, is loved by everyone, and is just getting better. This Hoshiru's time, he needs to clinch it. I do agree that he needs to clinch it now. Now's the opportunity because Onosato is going to get better and he's going to get dominant and there's going to be no stopping him. So he needs to start getting the Yusho while Onosato is taking his time. Yeah, at work, had to load up the truck. What did Bug Zero do? Bug Zero tried to interrupt the plug. So you'll have to go back and listen to the plug. I need to refine Bug Zero a little bit. This is tired, Maria, though. I've had some crazy weeks where I'm just so incredibly busy. that I am exhausted. I'm doing my best here to keep up the energy. Thankfully, Hoshiru has assisted in that matter. Okay, wait. Takeru Fuji just had a lucky break in his debut, I think. The guy is smaller, Chiyo Tairyu. I honestly think Chiyo Tairyu might have been stronger in a vacuum. That take is not necessarily incorrect, but we will see, because I do think Takeru Fuji also has that strong desire. So he has an opportunity to come back if he makes adjustments. There was a Ukrainian high school rikishi who did the bow twirling for one day of the Jungyo. His name is Yehor. Probably will be more like a shishi than Aishki if he joins Ozumo. It will be interesting to see a whole bunch of Ukrainians come in, because this is the first time, I think, ever in sumo that Ukraine has made it in. So that could be cool. I don't get how Bug Zero became a running thing either, and I thought of it. Because that's how these things happen. It all started with Big O, which was supposed to be Big Onosato, and I read it as Bug Zero. And then you just ran with it, and that's the kind of thing you do. And then everybody thought it was hilarious, and so people just bring up Bug Zero, and now he has to actually exist. Equalization for Hoshiru. Yeah. Haku Oho beating Onosato was fate for Hoshiru to win the Yusho. It gave Hoshiru the driver's seat. Normally, if I have to root for one or the other, I'll take Onosato, but I think ideal for this Basho is Onosato beating Hosh to force a playoff, then Hosh taking the playoff. Oh boy, I don't even want to think about that. That is very stressful for me. I'm still praying for that one Ura Yusho, though it's highly unlikely. Maybe if both Yokazuna are out one day and some luck too. A lot of things would have to come together for that, but yes, the world would rejoice. Because Ura would give the best speech in the world, and we'd all cry, tears of happiness, and everything would just be right in the world if Ura won a Yusho. Yep, see, I knew exactly how STZ02 would say it. Definitely an Onosato hater, but it's based on how much pressure Hoshiru is under. Now Hoshiru is doing well. You don't feel the pressure to bring Onosato down. That might be a pretty accurate assessment. You're a pretty smart dude. I think you've read my intentions well. Hot Bob Gob says, Hoshiru's cousin... Okay, I gotta lean in because I cannot read at this point. Ten Rose is in Makushita now. His records so far have been very close to when Hosh was coming up. I am looking forward to seeing Hoshiru's cousin. Bring all the family in. That wasn't even Bug Zero final form. That was definitely not final form Bug Zero. No question. Bug Zero needs more work because we need more Bug Zero. All right, I'm going to take a little time on the in-betweens, in-between sumo stuff, to refine the Bug Zero voice. At one point, he's going to have Doofenshmirtz, but that can't be the final version of Bug Zero's voice. So we'll work on it. Ukraine is also very dominant in amateur sumo. Ah, interesting. So they're making a plan. They're making a play for pro sumo here. Maria makes a mistake, and we have to forever remind her. I think you have to forever remind me. You're always calling me out in the comment section. And for like 0.3 seconds, I'm like annoyed. And then I just laugh because I'm like, it makes a good point. All right, fine. I'm an Onosato Kisenosato hater because of how the JSA sidestepped the bullying scandal. Hakuho gets beat around the head, but these two got a pass. Can't blame you for that. Can't blame you for that. Kisenosato definitely... favored in a lot of ways. The way his whole career went down, he's definitely in the in crowd. But I don't dislike either. You know? They're playing the game. You know? Don't hate the player, hate the game. I want to see Onosato get put on the hot seat. Let Hoshiru take Onosato down. Get that dominant 15-0, and then Onosato is in a position to prove himself. I concur. I mean, that's what I want to see. If I'm being completely honest, forget, exciting sumo. Hoshiru, Zensho Yusho, Win it on day 14. Okay, Onosato, let's see what you got. But then I'll be accused of being an Onosato hater again. Crying if Ura won, I'd be giggling for a month. Well, I would be crying, but it would be tears of happiness. Hoshiru's cousin doesn't really have the Asashiryu looks. There are some times when Hoshiru is doing things that I see his uncle. And that was not the case before he was Yokazuna. So it's kind of a weird phenomena where all of a sudden I'm like, he looks like Asashiryu. Look at that. It must be a thing that happens once you reach the rank. My promise to run down my street wearing a pink Tamawashi if Ura wins a Yusho still stands. You're going to have to send a video if you do that. We're going to have proof. I still imagine like one of those spider robots that's just an orb in the middle. Huh? Oh, for Bug Zero. Got it. Yeah, I gotta have somebody. I have to commission someone to draw Bug Zero, and then I'll put it up in the post section. I'm not a very good drawer. I could do it, but it would be really, really funny. You'd be like, what third grader drew that ridiculous Bug Zero? Bug Zero in your brain is a spider robot. I just think of the blue gender monsters, but I'm not drawing that. If you ever watch Blue Gendo, you'll understand why. Hakuho also trying to get... Okay, I gotta get close. Sengalese guys into sumo. Sengalese, where is that? Who will be the next surprise guy to win his first Yusho? Any guesses, anyone? Oh, that's a good one. The next surprise guy to win his first Yusho. Gotta be someone who's been around for a little while, but not too long. Let's go through the list, shall we? I'll make a prediction right now. Wouldn't be a surprise, wouldn't be. Abi Gonoyama, Tamawashi Hako Oho, Wakamoto Haru, Tami Fuji Koto Sho, Daisho Ichi Yamamoto. This is a hard one. This is a very tough one. I was going to say Ichi Yamamoto. It could be one of those weird tournaments where like both the Yokazuna are out for some reason. That's got to be the case. Ten Rose doesn't have to face Abi or Hoshiru when he gets to the top division, avoids 2 tough matches. Always good when you have that type of advantage. Kisano Sato, next chairman, 100% will be better than Hakaku. I could see Kisano Sato positioning himself for that. However, the whole age thing comes into factor. So there's probably a guy who's much older than him that will be the next chairman, I'm guessing. Hoshiru's smile looks a lot like Asashiryu's. Yeah. So this is like, I don't know, maybe it's like with the Dohyo Iri or something. There's just one serious face of his that looks like Asashiryu's. Army will be glad when Hakaku goes. I am not the big Hakaku hater most fans are, but yeah, I sided with Hakuho on the whole ouster scandal. I'll be happy when the next guy replaces him. You know, I just have a hard time being a hater, period. Because whenever I look at any person, even a person I don't know, I try to get into their head of why they made certain decisions, and then I feel kind of like, it still was a bad choice, but you might have thought it was a good choice, or I feel bad, or I wish things were different. So I can't say I'm a Hakaku hater, but I completely understand if people are and why they are, and the whole situation stunk. But I have a hard time going as far as hate for him. You should have a contest for best Bug Zero drawing and make it to the channel profile picture. Done. I'm going to make a post. Bug Zero contest. I will make it the channel profile picture. You got to have 42 opinions in it, too. It's got to be a 42 with Bug Zero, like, hanging around somewhere in the picture. The more weight he gains and the older Hoshiru gets, he looks more like Unk. I think that's it. The weight gain might be why he's looking a little bit more like his uncle. Oho for surprise Yusho or Haku Oho. I agree that they are the most primed, but is it really that big of a surprise? I don't know if that's a surprise to me because they both seem like they could do it, but maybe. Oh, Senegal. Okay, yeah. Senegal is in West Africa. I just wasn't putting together Senegalese with Senegal for some reason. Why Senegal specifically? We'll see if somebody answers that down below. Aonishiki is my pick. I don't know if that's a surprise, though. I feel like it's a foregone conclusion. Bug Zero, in my mind, has a deep and scratchy voice, if that's even possible. I feel like Bug Zero's minions sometimes are half my objective is just to annoy you. You're very good at annoying me, but in a very positive way. Like, there's annoying, like, go away, and there's annoying, like, all right, fine, STZ02. That's kind of how I feel like, all right, fine, you made another good point. Oh, Ichi Yamamoto will probably do well next Basho. He'll be below his quality and rank then. I'm not saying he'll win it anytime soon, but I feel like that would be a true surprise, don't you think? But he has enough skill that maybe he could pull it off. Temu Abi. So sad. Takayasu, next surprise winner. Well, fair point. Takayasu would be the biggest surprise winner because none of us expected at this point. So, you might be right, but can he actually win is the question. I had imagined the high-pitched robot voice to go with the whole robot orb thing, but now I'm imagining him with the voice of a grumpy Animal Crossing villager. Well, somebody's got to draw him so that I can figure out the voice. If I don't have a picture, I can't figure out the voice. I'm sure John has an even harder time being a hater. This is 100% accurate. You know, I make the claim that, you know, I have a hard time hating, which is true. But I am also a very angry person when I feel justice needs to be served. Whereas John is just a nice, positive fellow. He really is a nice, positive fellow. The nicest guy you'll ever meet. So, he can't be a hater most of the time. I like how you're charitable like that. Why, thank you, Monster. The way I see it is that every person ever born was born for a reason. They serve a purpose. If they're likable or not, they still have somebody who cares about them. They matter. And so because I think all those things, I try to look for all the angles of what might be going on with a person. Aonishiki isn't a surprise. Yeah, I think we're going to take Aonishiki out of the surprise you show. It wouldn't be a surprise. I will say Ichi Yamamoto has a good chance of reaching a higher rank than Abi one day because he's really putting in the work and learning how to belt fight and adding throws instead of thrust only. Yeah, keep your eye on Ichi Yamamoto. He's going to have an interesting future. Hating is easy. Doesn't mean you wish bad things to happen to someone. However, if Hakaku had a flat tire in the rain, I wouldn't pull over to help him. See, I would. I really don't know how to change a tire, but I would do something. I would help him in some way. I've had so-called enemies, okay, because I don't really have enemies, but I've had people who not a fan of. But when I see them in distress, I still feel bad and I still help, even if I'm still mad at them. Because I just see value in them as human beings, so I can't help myself. It's all practice from having 3 sisters. It makes so much sense now. Of course, I get it. It is all explained by that one sentence. No way Ichi Yamamoto reaches Ozeki. I didn't say that. I just said I think he could possibly win a Yusho if we're talking about surprise Yushos. Tamawashi, 41-year-old Yusho in 2026 will be the surprise one. Yes and no. I mean, I think he has 3 Yusho at this point. So, surprise for his age, but not surprise because it's him. That's the dream Yusho. I'm guessing you're saying the Tamawashi one. Bug Zero is just Frieza from DBZ, but with Onosato's face, Frieza's lips, though, I kind of picture Bug Zero being like King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph. But kind of. Like just that whole combination of like a person with a bug. But I think it would be a different face. Maybe it is Onosato's face. I don't know. I mean, it should be because it is inspired by Big O. So, who wouldn't want Tamawashi to win Yusho 3? Everyone will be happy to see it if it happens. Abi did make Ozeki, did he? Okay, tie his rank. I like that he's willing to learn more techniques. You know, but Abi's a real interesting guy. He really cares about his master who died. He's tried so hard to make him proud, and boy, do I have a soft spot in my heart for that. And he's trying to make him proud by doing his style of sumo and doing his style of sumo just as good. Hasn't worked out so far because it looks like massive injuries, but I can't fault him for continuing to honor his master in that way. Sekiwake, you just got to be in it at a good time. It used to be a lot easier to get Sekiwake than it is right now. Every Sanyaku position is difficult right now. It's kind of nice that that's the case. It would be awful nice to see Ichi make Sanyaku, though. I think he can. Let's give him a little time. I think he can. Yeah, Ozeki's a little too high. I forgot Abi did have that one good run on a few years back where he won a Yusho, too. But I think we're past those days. For the record, Abi did not benefit from the easier road to Sekiwake back than he deserved it, but guys like Takara Fuji and Aoyama have also been Sekiwake. Yeah, and that was a different time when they were too, but still, yes. King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph with Onosato's face is perfect. Okay, now somebody needs to draw it or put it together in Photoshop. Abi would Henka his mom. Would Ichi Yamamoto? No. Ichi Yamamoto is a nice boy. He would not do that. And I like those guys, but they benefited from the Ozeki and Yokazuna tearing up the Joey and lower Sanyaku of Basho. Agreed. It was a different time, guys. Everyone would be happy with the Tamawashi Yusho except the Yokazuna Deliberation Council. They would just complain about the Yokazuna not winning it. Oh, yeah. Tamawashi, well, I don't know. Tamawashi kind of gets a pass. They would probably still get on them, but they might be okay with it because it's Tamawashi. Surprise winner Asanoyama in 2026 when he's back in the top division. That's a good one. That's a good one, Spanky. Monster. No, they would bank on Tamawashi's win. They'd love it. Yeah, I think they'd love it. Everybody loves Tamawashi. Since we're doing it, my image of Bug Zero is something caterpillar-like with a highish raspy voice. Color is dark bluish. I could see the caterpillar as well. I'd love to see it, but I'm afraid his time has passed and his body is worn out. Yeah, Asanoyama, okay. I'm always surprised seeing that Miyogiru made Sekiwake, but in his prime, he was basically Wakataka Kage. I know, like, when you look at Miyogiru, he just was around for so long. It's like, you gotta go back to, like, 2008 to see, like, what he was capable of before, you know, he got to where he got when we're watching him. Ichi would totally hank at Abi's mom. Okay, well, that's a whole different story. Bug Zero is becoming like those ink blot pictures a therapist shows you in movies. I agree. I really feel like we have to expand on this Bug Zero thing. So, I want to tell you guys about a couple of things. I did catch up, but I'm not necessarily going now. I just want to tell you about a couple of things before I forget. So I want to do a Takenosho haircutting ceremony reaction type thing on October 4th. Not sure how it's going to play out because I got to be able to get videos. I don't think they're going to cover it on any of the main channels, so I might have to do fan videos, and I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not. But I'm also not going to do it live, obviously, because that's 4 o'clock in the morning for me, and I can't do it. I'm not even doing Sunday morning sumo show this time because I physically cannot get up early another day. I just can't do it. I'm exhausted. So, probably Saturday night, October 4th, I'm going to try to do something for Takenosho. And then, somewhere in October, I'm going to do the Zombies Ate My Neighbor's video live stream where you're going to watch me play it and we're going to talk. And we'll go from there. So keep a lookout in the post section for those events. Notifications don't always work, so you don't want to miss out because they're both going to be live streams. Asanoyama tied for the lead in Juryo. I mean, he's making a case to get back to the top division. Agree, Army. Guy ruined his career for one night out and then lying about it. Before that, I really thought he was going to be the next Yokozuna. Yeah, the whole thing stinks. Because here's the other thing, right? Other guys were going out too, and they really came down on him. Should he have done it? I don't know. That was a whole controversy back then. But I don't think the punishment... I don't think that night out was worth the punishment. How about the hamster for sumo chairman one day? Perfect fit for me. I agree. Of course, Army says, I know Maria will love the idea of him chairman of sumo. Oh, 100%. Come on. Any doubts? No. Monster knows this thing's about to end, so he's throwing out the demotion promotions. Very smart. Very timely. So we have Kitanowaka, Takekento, Nagamura, Otsuji, Wakanosho. Needs to get better score than Otsuji for promotion. This must be I missed that. Makushita Promotions. I was like, this must be the third division. Haven't been watching any Juryo this Basho. Has anyone checked out Asanoyama's new Mawashi? I've been meaning to. I've missed all Juryo. I've barely been able to get through top division. So I will have to check that out. Juryo demotions. That's okay, Maria. You work hard. You deserve the rest. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm in the process of trying to get a publishing deal, and that really adds to my level of stress. We will find out very shortly if that is to be. Endo. Kyoku Kayu. Yep. Miyano Kaze. Takara Fuji. These must be the demotions. Yep. Tsurugisho. Let's put, Intai possibilities for Takara Fuji and Tsurugisho. Juryo promotions. Oshomi, Nishiki Fuji, Mita, Fuji Seiyun, Chiyoshoma, Daiseizan. You can't keep that Chiyoshoma down for long. Makauchi demotions. Takeru Fuji, Nishikigi, Hitoshi, Sadanoumi, Meisei, and Gonoyama. Meisei is going to fight tooth and nail, I tell you. Maria, what color Mawashi is your favorite? Also, everyone else. What do you think, Army? How long have you been watching sumo is the first question. Because this is an obvious answer if you were watching sumo for quite some time. If you weren't, then you wouldn't know. Asanoyama's purple belt is so deep that it looks black on a bema. Okay, so who here has been watching sumo as long as 2017? If you have, then you know the answer to that question. Ura Pink. Nope. I do love the Ura Pink, but nope. I think I might have to tell you because you might not know. The shade of purple that Takenosho wore when he first came up. That is actually how I first decided to pick him. It's I guess you would say a bluish purple. So it's on the blue side of purple, not the pink side of purple. So no, Koto Echo purple's too light. Takenosho before Ozeki purple. Let's see if I can pull it up. I don't know what's going to come up when I try this, but. See if we can actually get purple Mawashi here. Well, you know what? We can show this. Oh my goodness, what do they call this? Yukata? This shade of purple. When Takenosho first came up, he wore that shade of purple. Here it is. Here it is, baby. Here it is. That's my favorite color, Mawashi. And I don't know that there's really many who have worn it since. Sumo Kyokai, we're back. We're back, baby. Side note, the Juryo card is so lame. Only the last 5 matches are worth watching. Yeah, it hasn't helped me. Koto Echo Purple. Yes, I read that. Daisho's pink adjacent, but that's very red. Mawashi is great. Asanoyama's purple is excellent. Blue is always great. Silver works on a few Rikishi. I wonder if Asanoyama's purple is the Takenosho purple. Oh, I was close. Oh, okay, I should have known. Hamster. Yeah, so the story is, when Takenosho first came up, he was wearing that color. And so I had a couple of other favorites before him. I liked Ishihara, Yoshikaze, Takara Fuji. Those were kind of my guys then. And then here comes Takenosho in that purple. I'm like, who's that dude? That purple's awesome. And then I started paying attention to him. So I thought you were going to say Takenosho turquoise. I do like turquoise, but purple is my favorite color. In particular, purplish bluish. It is a very nice shade of purple. Yes, it is, Monster. Hakuho Gold was mine. I don't remember the Hakuho Gold. I remember Endo's yellow. That one was pretty cool. I love Takenosho's plum purple. That's what I call it, at least. It's almost made me cry when he wore it again in his last Basho as Ozeki. I know, that was such a touching moment. Back in the 1970s, Takamiyama orange. You don't see a lot of orange these days. I'm still expecting only 3 spots to open in Makuuchi, so Mita and Fujiseun will probably have to fight it out, and too bad for Chio, even if he rallies. Yeah, I think they are going to lock some Juryo guys out. Like, I don't think Gonoyama's going to get demoted. Chio Tairyu salmon pink was an interesting decision. Asanoyama purple was more lavender. Okay, I got to look that up. My favorite is probably Koto Zakura's teal. That is a nice one. Yeah, you're looking right. After all, Tim, I'm starting to get worried Chiyoshima might get unlucky. Yeah, I think they're going to be a little stingy. I do. So here's the next question, guys. I am quite tired. I'd like to probably end shortly. Do you want a live stream tomorrow night? If you say yes, then I'm probably going to end this stream in a couple minutes. If you say no, then I'll stay on a little bit longer. Thoughts? Opinions? Feelings? Yeah, Hakuho wore a gold Mawashi for a little while. I totally missed that. Gold fits Hakuho. He knows he has the aura. Yeah, I could see that. We also might have shrinking Maegashira if Aonishiki makes Sekiwake and Waka and Kiri stay out. Could affect the promotion demotions. Yeah, don't count out that. Spanky says yes. I'm assuming that means yes to live stream tomorrow. Habab Gab says yes. Well, if we have to make a choice, then yes, stream tomorrow. Kind of gold yellow. Obviously, yes. Hearts for another live stream. Yeah, let's see some hearts. Come on. I need to see some hearts. Oh, here they come. All right. Stream again tomorrow. Okay. You guys have talked me into it. If I go to bed now, I'll be awake enough tomorrow to do a stream. And then you'll end up keeping me super late for that one. I'm sure of it. I am positive of it. Hakuho wore gold for respect for Wajima, the Yokazuna who wore gold. Yes. Hoshiru 12-0. Yeah, if the Maegashira shrinks, that could lead to more demotions. Yeah, keep that in mind. All right, guys. I like these hearts. I like this plan. Be nice to chat briefly after Hoshiru versus Aonishiki. Fair point. Honestly, day 12 is where all the action really happens. So it makes sense. We'll have a lot more to discuss tomorrow. And like I said, if I go to bed now, I might actually have some energy for tomorrow. STC02. Now that I know you have sisters, I know the tactic. Delay, delay, delay. All right. No delays. I'm gonna say yes to Gonoyama 0-12 tomorrow. And hopefully yes, Hoshiru 12-0. And I'm going to bid you all farewell for the night, because I'm going to come back tomorrow and we're going to have tons to talk about and it's going to be amazing. So, don't forget to do your fantasy sumo stuff. Tomorrow will probably be 9 o'clock. That's the goal. So, but check the channel just in case you don't get your notifications. I'm guessing 9 o'clock tomorrow. Good point, Monster, but I'm losing faith in Walking. Kitty both holding. If it's day 15, you show on the line Yokazuna versus Yokazuna. Will you stay up to watch it? I might. Ha! Good. STC02 has let me go. JR Sumo, nice try with the hearts. But thank you all for the hearts. They are great. Good night, everyone. Have a good day tomorrow. See everyone tomorrow night. Good night, Army. Good night, everybody. Good night, Habab Gob. Yes, I think tomorrow will be a great discussion. So, see you all then.